Arkansas waitress fired after customers leave a generous $4,000 tip. Now, this is actually pretty crazy in this story, right? But let's check out this video. So let's see.
Hey, excuse me, I'm so sorry to disturb everybody's dinner. Just take 60 seconds. We've got a table full of absolutely amazing people from all over the country that have traveled here. And tonight we're hosting a $100 dinner club. Everybody at this table has contributed or tipped $100.
Now that's pretty cool. Now there's like this is like a basically like a party of 40 people, right? So $100 for 40 people, 4K, right? Now there's actually two servers dealing with this, right? So it was basically going to be split between the two of them. At least that was the plan.
And for the other waitress who unfortunately had to go home, she wasn't feeling well. And then we put it out to our social media channels, and we actually had quite a bit more money sent in. So we are tipping a total of 4,000.
Okay, so basically the actual total amount was the $4,400 tip, obviously, as well right here, right? Now it's interesting because this is a lot of money for a waitress depending on the location, right? Now there are some waitresses that can make a lot of money, right? There's some people who could like, bartenders who can make a lot of money, right? Because of the cash tips. But in a lot of these like smaller locations or more maybe rural locations, waitresses don't actually make that much money. So think about, since there's two split between both of them, that'd be $2,200 each, right? That's a lot of money in a single day, right? This could basically make them like basically net zero in terms of like, basically their bills, maybe some debt, right? If they have like credit card debt, they could pay that off. Like this type of like offer, this type of generosity could literally change someone from being in that point of being like living paycheck to paycheck to now being like, okay, now I could be starting at zero and actually work my way in a much easier way. Because now I don't have like a debt payment that I got to worry about, or maybe I don't have to worry about groceries for like a month or something like that, or like I'm current on everything, right? Some people are just not even current on their bills, so something like this tip can actually mean a lot for some people. Now, also think about this too, right? It's not just the fact that they tipped them with specifics of it being split between her and the other waitress, right? That was literally the specifics of this tip.
Thank you, everybody. Tip your waitresses, okay?
So I thought that was a pretty good video. But this is the sad thing, right? Because apparently she got fired. So let's continue into the story. So the generous gratuity came on December 6th when waitress Ryan Brandt and another server worked a party of more than 40 at Oven and Tap in Bentonville, Fox 59 reported. Each diner had chipped in $100 in tip money, believing the total would go to both servers. And again, according to the video that they recorded on this night, that was literally the specifics of the tip, saying like, hey, it's $4,400 to be split between you and the other waitress. We knew servers were really hit hard through COVID, and it was something that we had come up with to help give back. Grant Wise, who dined at the eatery following a conference in town, told CBS 5. but the restaurant's manager instructed Brant to pull the tip with her coworkers who didn't serve the large party, an arrangement she told Fox 59 was unprecedented in her more than 3 years working there. I was told that I was going to be giving my cash over to my shift manager and I would be taking home 20%, Brant told the network. When Wise, who owns a real estate company called Whitley, found out, he demanded the restaurant return the tip money, then turned over $2,200 directly to Brant. And that's the way to go about in doing it, right? Because the restaurant manager, right, overstepped their bounds in this situation, right? Because even if there was a policy in place where you pulled tips, which is very rare, right? Even if there was a policy for that, these people who made this tip specifically said how the tip was supposed to be split. And it's literally on video, right? Like they literally said, hey, it's a $4,400 tip to be split between you and the other waitress who ended up leaving early because she didn't feel too well. So Brent was canned the next day. They fired me from Oven and Tap over the phone, and I've been there for 3.5 years, and that was really heartbreaking, Brent told CBS 5, especially because I didn't think I did anything wrong. In a statement, Oven and Tap said Brent was fired for reasons unrelated to the tipping incident and that it fully honored the generous tipper's request to reward the pair's servers at their party. Now, here's the thing. If you are in her situation, it might actually be a pretty nice idea, or probably a pretty good idea, to consider suing that business, right? Because if they fired you for simply wanting to get the tip that was supposed to be paid to you, right? Yeah, you could probably win that. So after dining, this large group of guests requested that their gratuity be given to two particular servers. We fully honored the request for the statement provided to local outlets. Out of respect for our highly valued team members, we do not discuss the details surrounding the termination of an employee. The server who was terminated several days after the group dined with us was not let go because she chose to keep the tip money, the restaurant added. The other two servers who received generous tips that evening from the Willie organization, including one who also received $2,200, are still members of our team. In response, Wise started a GoFundMe page for Brent, which has raised over $8,700 as of Monday morning. That's pretty cool. So it was devastating. I borrowed a significant amount for student loans. Brent said about losing her job. Most of them were turned off because of the pandemic, but they're turning back on in January, and that's a harsh reality. So here's the thing, right? If you're that waitress, right? And if you believe that, I'm not going to give like legal advice kind of stuff, right? But here's the thing. You could potentially probably go file a lawsuit about this because of like wrongful termination, probably win a decent amount of money because if they fired you specifically for accepting a tip that you were tipped, you could probably get some decent amount of money. Probably even enough to pay off your student loans, depending on how big that is, right? Now, of course, there's always cost to that. It's probably going to be expensive as well. Maybe her GoFundMe will end up paying for that, and also maybe paying for that, like that transition period for her to get another job, because she definitely does need another job. But here's the thing: this is why it is so important to be debt free and to have an emergency fund, so that when crazy situations in life happens, it's just a nuisance and not like a devastating, tragedy, right? Because let's say that she had no student loans, no credit card debt, basically no debt at all, right? And she had like a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. This would suck, but she would be able to find another job, start making money, and then end up potentially suing the restaurant in a pretty short fashion, right? Because it would just be a hassle to deal with, but not be something devastating to where like now she is struggling to even make her bills. Although luckily she has the GoFundMe, which is cool. If you end up finding that, that's pretty cool. Because yeah, like this is just sad, right? Like people should really only be fired if they did something wrong, right? Now again, I don't know why she was technically fired. Maybe other people don't know as well. But if we're going to assume that, she got fired because of this tip, because she got fired right after, getting this tip, you could probably assume that she got fired for getting this tip. So it's just a really sad moment. I mean, feel free to give your thoughts. Like, is it normal for your restaurant to have like a policy where you just split tips like that? Now, I know that there are some policies at some restaurants where waitresses and waiters end up, basically doing like a tip split share thing, right? But it's very uncommon, like very uncommon for my knowledge. Now, it might be more common where you are from, but like I've maybe seen that once ever, right? And I don't think that business really lasted that long. So I think this restaurant is in the wrong here, and I think they're probably going to end up paying a lot of money if she ends up suing them. That's my point of view on it. By the way, if you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40inbox.com. Because here's the thing, this is why you need to be out of debt. This is why you need a strong financial foundation so that no matter what happens, you can move on with life and not really be too stressed about it.